Hi guys, I cannot sleep, so I decided to make a video on Connecticon. I am just gonna go over like what I thought about some of the cosplay contests, what I thought about the masquerade, what I thought about the dealer's room and artist alley and stuff like that. My first impression of Connecticon was that it was very big. Looking at a bunch of videos online and seeing things made it look like a massive kind of con. And surprisingly, it was big, but it wasn't as big as I thought. What made it seem big were the amount of people that were there. It was kind of like an outdoor indoor thing, but everything that had to do anything with the con was indoor. So it was kind of I don't want to say it was overflowing. There was more than enough space to move, but it was just like that kind of killed my perception of it because I just thought the con would be just as big as the amount of people that were there. So if we were gonna go into the con, I'd say it had a nice lobby area. There was kind of like only one to two places. There was like the downstairs and the upstairs, and that's kind of where everyone kind of gathered. I feel like for a point of interest for cosplayers and photographers. So it was kind of cool to have like a point where we were like, hey, why don't we go around and meet and talk to people? They kind of had like a central area for that because I know at like Anime Boston, there's just so many like spots where you can do that, and it was kind of cool to have everyone in one area. So if you knew someone you want to try and meet that was there, it was likely because you're all going to be at that spot at some point. Now, talking about the dealer's room was a well-sized room. Everything was all in one big room. They had the cafe, it was right in the corner, and next to the cafe was the arcade. They even had like the alley, but the artist alley was kind of just clumped up with the dealer's room. They kind of took two rows and just was like, this is the artist alley. That was kind of something I wish that was bigger. That's why I go to cons. The reason I go is because I buy a piece of art and meet people. I don't really, initially, I do now, but I didn't really go there for panels or anything. I just went there to kind of meet people and see other cosplayers. So it's kind of the cat. It's kind of it was kind of not a bummer, but because I got some pretty nice art. So talking about the cosplay contest, so we know that I always am trying to get into them. We have some group ones that we've gotten into, and this one was kind of tricky. So this was on us. We didn't sign up soon enough, so we were just kind of hoping there would be a spot for us to be able to take. And unfortunately, well, there was a spot we could take, but the problem was that we ended up doing Steampunk Sora and Kyrie, and the rules said that you can't do any sort of variation of a character. You have to do a character that exists, that is real, that you can get a reference for. And we thought that was kind of a bummer because in reality, I feel like the Sora that I did, with all the embossing all on the leather and everything, it was a lot more detailed than the actual guy himself, than Sora's actual costume. And I was just like, oh man, I can't show this off. I can't go around and be a part of this because the rules restricted me from doing so. I can understand like safety rules and stuff like that where it restricts with that, but it was just like they cut artistic ability a little bit, or not ability, but artistic I can't think of the word. I'll think of it later. Artistic integrity, I guess. They took that out of it, and it was kind of like, bleh, you can't do anything with it. Another thing I entered was the FNB contest, or the fan-made video contest, and it was, or fan music video, I don't know, everyone says something different. But I ended up entering that, and it was kind of a cool first experience to enter this thing. So I got my video in and got everything in. I didn't win anything, which I'm okay with. One thing I did notice is, I'm not sure if it was my video that I sent in, I watched my video and it seemed to be fine, or if it was something when I uploaded it to them, but the treble in my song just kicked out about 7 seconds after it started. I was like, oh no. So that was like, I had hits of the song go to the animation, and those parts of the song you just could not hear through their sound system, and I was like, ah. So I feel like I lost a few votes on that, but I'm not too worried about it. FMVs or AMVs are not like my strong point, but I do wish that they had either told me about it, because I did ask them if my uploaded video was all good and everything. I did ask them all that. So I'm assuming it's a malfunction with their sound system, but you can't always get everything. Another thing I wanted to talk about were the panels. We went to a few panels. We went to 2 voice acting panels. One of them was the badasses of video games, and I don't remember what the name of the other one was. It was another voice acting panel, and they kind of had the same people but with a couple extra. That one was kind of, it was fun because the people there were fun. They asked us to ask questions that weren't about anything about voice acting. They're like, ask us just stupid things. And one question, for example, is actually pretty funny. Was that someone asked if in any intimate interactions, if anyone's asked you to use your special voice that you can use, and it was funny, the reactions we got from it. And some people, some of the voice actors were like, yeah, and it's really creepy and it sucks. And it was just kind of cool to like not be like, so so how do I become a voice actor? What's the path? And it's kind of, they knew that wasn't gonna work too well, because it's kind of, you can find that question anywhere. You can't find the previous question anywhere, because it's more personal, which I think was kind of a cool thing they tried to do with it. Another panel I went to, it was kind of, I was excited to go to it. It was me, Morgan, Trey, and Braden. We had never been to an 18+ panel, so we're like, all right, let's go to this 18+ panel. We're gonna do it. And it was animated horrors from around the world. And so we're like, all right, we're ready to see some creepy stuff. And so we go to check it out, and the problem is it was not terrifying or creepy or at all. It was just kind of more of a the guy described it as psychological fear, but it was really just kind of we were laughing at half of them, like not just our group, but like the entire crowd. They were just really funny. There was like this one where there were these 2 like puppet looking things that was stop motion, and they're trying to bargain something. It looks like a bowl of soup or something, and they talk like meh, and the other one talks meh, and they just keep going back and forth to the really mad, like and a rat comes and steals their piece of cheese, and I don't know, I guess he stops it there, and he's like, well, this is where it gets all torn up. They tear up the rat and rip its limbs apart, and he's like, I can't show that, it's too much. And everyone's like, show it, it's 18+. But yeah, I don't know, it was kind of a it was interesting on a world point. Like, you got to see, like, because he was like, one of them was the atomic bombing that happened in Japan, and one of the video or animations was about that, but it was just like, it just showed people's faces going from normal and turning into skulls, and it was just kind of like, well, it's nothing we haven't seen before. But to someone who has been in that situation where the atomic bombing was happening around them, that could bring up like PTSD and stuff like that. But yeah, it wasn't obvious, I guess. I guess it's something where you had to have had some kind of past interaction with this where it would psychologically bug you. But I have a okay life. I don't have any psychologically terrible things that happened in my past. So it was kind of boring on my point of view. One thing I did really enjoy from the con was they had the arcade systems that were set up around, and I wish I had been there longer. We only had spent like literally the last hour there. They unplugged the machines while people were playing because they had to take them away. But we played this drum game, and it was just 4 drums, and everything was in Japanese. So I had no idea like what it was trying to say, like through the menu. And I'm just like, maybe we'll play this one. I could understand it had like 10 stars. I knew 10 stars was a hard song, and One Star was super easy song, but it was kind of fun. It was I would describe it as rock bands with the drum set, but without the foot pedal and without cymbals, and it was just four drums, and it had a Connect with it, the Xbox Connect, and you had to like lift your arm at certain points, and it was kind of cool. They also had a table flipping game, which is hilarious. You just had to get angry at your family and bang on a table and then flip it. And yeah, I actually I wish we spent a lot more time there because it was a lot of fun. But the lines were kind of like they weren't long; they were like 5 people long, but each game would take a little bit to play. So other than all of that, everything was pretty cool. There was the staff was awesome. They were very laid back. They knew they like with my keyblade, it's all made out of metal and wood, but they knew like they used common sense. Like I'm not gonna go smash someone with that keyblade that I worked so hard on. They let us go no problem. Just had to put the tag on it, which I'm fine with. I had no one yelling, which I'm actually kind of surprised about. Like usually at cons all the time, they're like, everybody move the line this way, move the line this way. And it was very organized. There was no like, nothing went wrong technically. Like everything, everyone kind of knew what everything was, knew where everything was going. The programs were great. They were these pamphlets that were just so well put together, and everything is just spaced out so well. Yeah, I think everything was about that made it a great con because everything just went so smoothly, and you didn't have to. There was no technical errors with the staff or the con itself. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's my opinions on Connecticon. Be sure to subscribe to the video below and all that good stuff. Okay, now see you later.
Super Adequate Cosplay Society.